welcome back. My name is Mufaro Mumba. If you're new here, hey, why not click that subscribe button and become part of our family? We are the Monday Makers. What are we all about, right? As the Monday Makers, we believe in making our Mondays. We believe that Mondays are not dreadful. We believe that Mondays is a fresh start. We believe Mondays is another opportunity to get things right. So here we discuss business, we discuss life, we discuss faith, and everything else that is in between. Every month we have a Bible study. So if this is your first time here and this is your first video, I would suggest you go back and watch the other 3 videos, because it's sort of like a building block. So each video is a build-up of the previous one, just so things kind of make sense. Without rambling and without taking too much time, I am going to share with you, our scripture of the day. Today we're going to speak about the power to become. And so our scripture comes from the book of John chapter 1 verse 12. And it says, "Yet to all who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God." I like other versions. It says he gave them the power to become children of God, right? What an amazing scripture to let us know about the power of becoming, that there is a possibility to become. It says he gave them the right to become children of God, meaning that they weren't before. So what we can take from this scripture, it's a principle about becoming. So I just need to put my Bible to the side. Right, so the power to become, right? Many of us are not where we want to be. We are not who we want to be. We are probably not, doing the things we want to do or being the best version of ourselves. But that is the beauty of the process of becoming, the power to become. It says they had the right, they received the right to become children of God. What does that mean? It means the right to become children of God. Children of God are children who are walking in purpose. They're children who are growing. They're children who are flourishing. They're children who are producing fruit, right? So we have the right to become that. We have the right to walk in our purpose. We have the right to be producing fruit. We have the right to be doing the right things. I think that's amazing. I really, really think that that's amazing. And it gives us hope, or it gives me hope. I hope it will also give you hope to realize that you have the power to become. You have the right to become. God is saying, I've given you the right to become everything that I want you to be. Imagine, how great is that? You have the power to become the boss that he called you to be. You have the power to become the wife that he called you to be. He has given you the right to become the kind of person that he has called you to be. But now let's take a bit of a deep dive into what exactly is this power? What does the process look like of becoming? Right. So I think one of the biggest things I've learned in my process of becoming, because each of us, as we are growing, as we are, going day by day, you are actually becoming something. You are becoming someone. You are either drawing closer and closer to the person you want to become, or you are drawing further and further and you are becoming something else. Whatever it is, realize that you are actually becoming. Whether you are intentionally taking steps towards whatever you are doing, even if you are not taking steps, you are actually becoming something. You are actually becoming someone. You are becoming someone with certain traits, with certain habits, with certain characteristics. And that's what I love about the power to become, is that you are able to decide which way you want to go. So if we are going to get into the process of becoming, it means that the first thing is that we need the ability to unlearn, right? So as you are growing, as you're evolving, or let's say you realize that, okay, fine, I am, I realize, okay, my eating habits are not so great. I don't eat so well. I want to improve. That's the power to become healthier. The process of becoming healthier, what does it mean? It will entail that the first thing, like I've said, is that you need to be able to unlearn. We need to be able to unlearn any toxic habits, any toxic traits, the things that hinder us from becoming the people that we are supposed to be. You are allowed to unlearn. Listen, you don't owe it to anyone to remain the version of you that no longer serves where you are going. You don't have to stay unhealthy if you want to become healthy. You don't have to keep eating junk food. You are allowed to unlearn. I don't know why we are so afraid, but we are allowed to unlearn. If you realize, like I will tell you, you remember we said we're going to have heart to heart? So yeah, I will tell you, like I was terrible with communication. I'm still not that great. But I had to unlearn. I had to, which takes me to the second point. So let me just combine it. About the ability to learn again, or to relearn rather. You need to be okay with learning again. Okay, fine, I realized I'm not so great at communication, but I was willing to learn. I had to read books. Are you willing to learn? If you unlearn, it's not enough to just unlearn and then we leave it at that. Because what happens is we've created a vacuum, right? You've moved from one space to another. So whatever way you used to do something, it needs to be replaced with a better way. So we can't end at just unlearning. It means we need to learn. We now need to learn new habits. We now need to learn new traits. We now need to learn a new way of doing things that will help you in your process of becoming. Because as you look at what you want to become, you will realize there's certain things about you that don't quite fit with who you are trying to become, and you're allowed to drop that. You are allowed to drop the baggage. You will realize that there are certain associations, certain relationships, certain friendships that are actually not helping you to become. They are not helping you to become the person you want to become. And you are allowed to disconnect from that. You are allowed to discontinue those relationships. It doesn't mean you have to, end things on a terrible note with people, or we have to be cruel, or we have to, we don't need to be sour and make it drama-like. But you are allowed to distance yourself if you realize that, oh, okay, this person or this relationship, or even like a very good one is this series, the things we watch, the things we listen to, the things we are reading. Those are all things that feed into your process of actually becoming. And that's a big part of learning. Where are you going to learn? Every time you open up YouTube, every time you're listening to music, whatever you're reading, you are actually learning. So what are you learning? Is the material that you consume actually constructive for you? Are they things that are going to help you become? Remember, we've been given the right to become the sons of God. We have the permission, we have the power, but what are we doing with that power? What are you doing with that right? Are you now eating the right things? So remember, we've said we've unlearned. Okay, I've discovered pasta is not my friend. As much as I love it, it's not my friend. It's not helping me become the healthy version of me that I want to be, right? But have I learned? Am I learning? So what am I doing now that I've discovered that pasta is not for me? I have to go and learn what works for me, what foods will help me become the best version of me. And then there's also the ability to relearn, right? Relearning means when you discover that you've done something well, or what you learned is helping you, be able to keep relearning it. Relearn it every day until it becomes part of you. Relearn it, keep relearning, keep relearning. Don't get tired. Don't get tired of unlearning. Don't get tired of letting go of things that no longer serve you. Things that hinder us from being the best version of ourselves. We are able to let them go. We are allowed to let them go. And that is the beauty of the power to become, is that it's also a process. It doesn't happen overnight. If I tell you how I lost weight, it took me 2 years. Actually, no, I'm lying. It took me 4 years to get to my goal weight. And, there were a lot of other things that were in play, but the day that I decided and I said, look, I want to become healthier. I don't like what I'm seeing. Okay, and so I was able to identify the problem. I was able to identify the place that I'm seeing that, okay, with who I want to be, with the person that I'm seeing, this thing is not aligning. Which part of me is not aligning to this? Which habits of mine are not aligning to this? Which friendships of mine are not aligning to this? Which music am I listening to that's not aligning to this? And then we unlearn. And then we learn again. We learn what works. We learn what will help us become what we're supposed to be. We learn, we continue to learn. I don't think we ever stop learning. That the importance of being able to, one, unlearn, two, to learn again, three, to keep relearning. So don't be afraid of unlearning. Don't be afraid of letting go. Don't be afraid of letting go of things that don't serve you anymore, of a mentality that doesn't serve you anymore. That's another big thing. Is we have to be able to unlearn mentalities. And I think that's one of the most difficult things actually, is to unlearn a mindset. So like just the whole point of this, of Make Your Monday, you have to unlearn the mindset that Mondays are terrible, Mondays are a drag, Mondays these Monday blues. You have to unlearn that mindset and relearn a new mindset. Learn a mindset to say, you know what, actually, Mondays are not bad. My life is not horrible. My life is not the mess that I think it is. Yes, true, we don't deny the fact that the truth may be, things may not be the way you want them to be, but you need to be able to learn a new mindset. Because as a man thinks, so he is. So of course, if you think that Mondays are terrible, guess what? They really are going to be terrible. That is what you are going to see. That is what is going to be made manifest. That is what is going to be your reality. So we have the power to become sons of God. We have the power to become children of God. We have been given that right. We have the right to become everything that we are supposed to be. And it is a process. And don't get tired. Sometimes it will be hard. Like I've said, imagine like you're wanting to become healthy again. Okay, in the process of becoming healthy again, it means you need to unlearn our toxic eating traits. We need to unlearn whatever bad eating habits we had accrued along the way. And we learn new things. Be open to learning. I know people say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I believe you can if the dog is willing to learn. Just like with money, if you know, like I tell you, here we're going to be open and transparent. I used to be terrible with money. I mean, I'm not fabulous now, but I was willing to unlearn. I was willing to unlearn and observe, first of all, that, okay, what are my issues? Why do I do things this way? Why do I have such a bad relationship with money? And then I began to unlearn the habits that I picked up along the way. And I was willing to learn new habits. I was willing to learn to save. I'm willing to learn to invest. All those things. So in the process of becoming, also you need to be willing to learn. First of all, unwilling. You need to be willing to unlearn. And then we also need to be willing to learn again. We need to be willing to make room for the new information. We need to be willing to learn the new way of thinking. We need to be willing to learn, okay, if I want to become a better leader, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to read books? Are you willing to listen to podcasts? Are you willing to be corrected? That's another thing in the process of becoming. We need correction. We need to be able to take criticism, constructive criticism from those around us, be it your mentors, to correct us. Because remember, it's a process. You are in the process of becoming. And as you learn, also give yourself grace. Realize that you're not just going to wake up and you are this tada CEO, or you can now go and lift 50 kgs at once. The power of becoming. I believe it's in Atomic Habits where he speaks about, compounding a good habit. That you may not see the difference now. You may not even see the difference a week from now. But a year from now, 5 years from now, if you compound that good habit, it makes a difference to your life. I believe he gives an example of when a plane is taking off. That if the plane starts off even, slightly off with 2 or 3 degrees, it can end up in a completely different location. And that's the same thing with the process of becoming. The power of becoming. You have that power. So whatever you decide to do, If you decide today that, okay, I'm going to unlearn and I'm going to learn. And then the third thing is to be able to keep relearning. Keep relearning that thing. Keep revisiting the new information that you learned, because remember, you want it to become part of you. Keep relearning. Keep relearning. Keep observing. Be able to step back and see, okay, of what I learned last week, what I've been applying, or what I've been applying for the past year. So, sorry, my lighting is a bit off. But as we are about to close, right, don't be scared. Don't be scared of unlearning, so that you can relearn something new, so you can pick up a habit that is beneficial to you. And be okay with learning. Make the stride. Make the effort to learn. Like I always say, sometimes you're not necessarily the most equipped, right? Or maybe you don't hold the qualifications for what you want to be. But you have the power to become. You have the power to become that person. You have the power to become someone who is well vested in financial literacy. You have that power, but are you